Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Awaken to Your Soul Path. I am your host, Barbara, and today I am joined by the wonderful Carol Pilkington. And we are going to be talking about astrology, and then specifically about how astrology can guide you and your life. Welcome, Carol. I'm so happy that you're here today.
Thank you so much, Barbara. It's wonderful to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
I loved that you wanted to come and talk to me about astrology because I work mostly with human design and the gene keys, and they are in part stooled on astrology, but astrology itself is quite new. Well, not new in the sense of I read my horoscopes my entire life, but the nitty gritty of it and all the facets of it. I had my astrology report made last year, and one of the things that came out of it was that I have a yacht. And I had never heard of it before. I didn't know what it meant. I know what it means now. So I have been dying to talk to someone about astrology more. And I know a lot of people have an interest in astrology, so maybe it's a good place to start when we talk about what is astrology.
Hmm. Astrology to me is a way of exploring the paradoxes that we are faced with in life. And with all its archetypes and um, universal archetypes is a way of describing a universal meaning that we ascribe to things. So, for instance, when we say we're a Virgo or a Taurus, that has universal attributes and implications to it. Like
Yes.
someone might feel that they are sure and steady, methodical, and and will are process oriented. That's Taurus. And that can be felt universally. So that's an archetype. But for me, astrology is more than the archetype. Astrology for me is, who are we beyond those archetypes? Who
Hmm.
can we be beyond those archetypes, beyond the labels that we put on ourselves and our environment? And that in and of itself can be seen as a paradox. We are those things and there's more,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
And so I really love that about astrology, and it can explain a lot of what life has to offer and life's meaning to us beyond the roles that we play, beyond our careers in life. It can help us understand what our connection is to the cosmic need, if you will.
Hmm.
And while I like to stay in the realm of making things very accessible and practical,
Yeah.
for me, it is important to understand that while there is the practical and earthbound, I'm also connected to all that I cannot see and but yet sense and feel. Like most of us can has a sense that there is more out there than just what we can physically render. And so astrology has helped me understand that which I'm connected to, what I cannot see,
Hmm.
but know and feel and sense exists beyond my tangible reach.
Yes. I love that. But the question that immediately pops up for me is then how? How did astrology do that for you?
Yeah. I always wanted to know, and I'm sure many other people have asked these existential questions about our own existence. What are we doing here? What
Hmm.
does it mean to be human? Where did I come from? And psychology can't answer those questions, generally speaking, because they don't ask those kinds of questions. They only speak to the symptoms of what we feel about our existence in life and the challenge that we face and obstacles that we face about how we feel about life.
Mm-hmm.
And astrology has helped me, has provided me a sense of belonging.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I fit into the scheme of things? It has made me understand, help me understand that I belong simply because I exist.
Mm-hmm. You're a part of the whole of the universe.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that I have a calling to contribute whatever I have to that bigger whole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what astrology has offered me. Things that answers, I have found answers in astrology that all other traditional means have not been able to provide.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, I can see that. That's what human design and the gene keys did for me. And again, the astrology is a big part in that, the planetary alignments and such. But for a lot of people, astrology is simply reading their horoscope every week in the paper, or maybe they think it's well something with planets, right? So how would you explain it to people in a way that they understand?
So we often talk about opposites attract, right?
Hmm.
And my understanding now from being involved with astrology is that I want to know what is the nature of that attraction? Why do opposites attract? And are they actually opposites? Are they actually attributes of ourselves that have been latent and dormant within us that the other can bring out, and vice versa? So, for instance, Virgo and Pisces, one is earthy, the other is watery. Virgo is earthy and it sees all the details of things.
Hmm.
Pisces is boundless and feels everything. And so the two together can create form and the ability to um, feel connected
Hmm.
beyond the details. It's like the forest and the trees, right?
It's about
The
compatibility.
Pisces, yes, Pisces can envision the whole forest as well as the leaves, the branches, the grass, the sun peeking through the trees, all that stuff. And Virgo is all about within all that which is in within the forest, all the
Hmm.
details of
Hmm.
the different shades of green or brown or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the two of them together creates a whole.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
that's with all of the signs and their seemingly opposites. You can't have tails without the head,
No, you can have
right?
yin without yang, or ebb without flow, or sun without moon. It's the natural way of things, the natural order.
That's that's exactly right. So that's what I mean about the tangible nature of how astrology can help us understand
Hmm.
um, our our way of being and understanding of the world that we're in and our belonging in it.
Yes, exactly. So it can make clear why a relationship with a certain person wasn't working out, or with why you are constantly bumping heads with a friend. but it can also tell you about your destiny, your purpose on life, right?
Yes. And with regards to our relationships, it can help us begin to explore the nature and the differences that we all embody and how to work within those energies. Like, for instance, how we communicate. One might be very logical and um, always thinking about statistics, while another is about feeling. When somebody has, say, Mercury is about our thought processes or how we assimilate information.
Hmm.
And one might say, I feel this, while another might say, I think this.
Hmm.
So the feeling and thinking nature has to be is helpful to understand. So for instance, I had a client who seemed to clash with her husband. And when we looked at both of her chart and his chart, I could explain to her how he's taking information in
Hmm.
and how he's assimilating it,
Hmm.
because his Mercury was in Pisces. And so he was feeling the information that he was receiving, not thinking about it.
And that makes a
And
huge
it,
difference.
yeah. And so it really helped her to learn how to communicate with him so that he would be able to receive something.
Hmm.
And that's something that astrology can be the gift of.
Yes, exactly. And you also said it can help guide you. So what would that look like?
So that looks like what that looks like is that understanding the cycles that we're in. Every we're we all are going through various cycles in our life.
Hmm.
And my experience is that I've come here to learn various lessons. And the people that I encounter help me learn those lessons. The environment that I put myself in, the situations that I put myself in helps me understand and learn those lessons.
Hmm.
And astrology enables that process to unfold because it shows me the various cycles of life that I'm in and where I'm at and what possibilities and probabilities are available to me.
Hmm. Yes.
So for instance, Saturn is how we master life. And there are cycles within cycles within cycles.
Mm.
It is Saturn is a 28 to 29-year cycle. And over
Yeah.
that span of time, it can teach me lessons
Hmm.
about how well I'm doing with my evolutionary process and what I'm learning or not learning. And it can show me the way. And there are other planets like Jupiter is a planet of expansion and higher learning and putting meaning to things,
It's
to
a
what
powerhouse.
information I gather. Right. And so it can show me where in my process I am in developing meaning to my life and to others' life.
Hmm. Yeah, because as I understood it, every planet has a different length cycle, right?
Correct. And there are cycles within each one of those. Like Jupiter is a 12-year cycle, but within that 12-year cycle, there are multiple cycles, 4 years, 4-year
Mm.
cycles.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have planets going in retrograde. One of the favorite
Mm-hmm.
ones that people always mention when technology fails them, then they say, "Oh, Mercury is in retrograde."
Yeah. For me, Mercury, all of the retrogrades is a way for us to really kind of take a pause and be still and recoup, regenerate, reevaluate. That's what the retrograde periods really represent, whether it's Mercury, Mars, Venus. Those are the planets that we can actually feel in our day-to-day life that seem to be moving forwards and backwards, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mercury, with our communication, where have we missed steps? Where have we not paid attention to things that we might have avoided or keep pushing away that now have to be addressed? So it's not because of Mercury going retrograde that things are coming to light, but there's a correspondence to what's happening in the heavens and what's happening here, right?
Yes.
And so that's what I love about astrology and understanding all these different principles and concepts that we hear about every day. Venus is about our relationships and what we value. And Mars is how we assert ourselves, how we're moving forward with anything. Should we take a step back? Do we need to reevaluate the actions that we're taking? Things like that.
Yes, exactly. And it can also teach us things about our karma and our dharma, right?
Yeah, karma is a big word, and it means different things to a lot of people.
True.
For me, karma is about the responsibility we take around what we perceive and our emotions, our feelings, our actions that we take, taking responsibility for it all and understanding the impact that we have on another and being responsible on how we impart that impact.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. For me, dharma is your life path and karma are your lessons learned or the lessons you need to learn. But that's the simplified version of what you're saying. So yes, that is correct. And well, I mentioned in the beginning of our interview that I got told that I have a yacht in my chart. Um, as I understood it, what has been told to me is that my yacht indicates that I am sort of the designated shit shoveler for all the family drama and karma.
That's funny. Well, the yod um is two planets or four planets, if you will, 1, 2, 3, that don't seem to have any real connection, but kind of are not connecting. And how do we make those adjustments and make them more conscious in our awareness to be able to work with those seemingly divergent energies? They're not opposites, right? So there's no complementary connection,
No, they
but
formed
they
a
just seem to,
triangle in my case because
yeah.
one was Pluto and the other one was Uranus, and their distance from the middle line was exactly the same. So they were exactly the same point, and Venus was at the middle point. So then they form a triangle together, which I have been told is then what forms this phenomenon. And there
Yes,
are then lots of energies at play in the whole.
that's right. And what brings them together is you could kind of see whatever is at the focal point, which you said I think was Venus at
Yes.
the point, right?
Yeah.
And then Uranus was over here and Pluto was over here,
Yeah.
pointing up to Venus.
Yes.
And then Uranus and Pluto were connected by sextile at the bottom of the triangle.
Yes.
And the outlet, if you will, is Venus.
Yes. Hence why
And
she
so
into
that,
family
yeah,
karma.
right. And so working with those different energies that don't seem to have any connection to one another can help us bring awareness to them so that we can work with them,
Hmm.
so that they're not always feeling like they're in conflict. It
Yeah.
takes effort to work with them.
Yes, yeah, exactly, because they are not complementary energies in and of themselves. And the connection that they form in this instance is a very strong one that has a big influence in your life. And I wasn't aware of it, but then when she explained it to me, I thought, oh, that makes so much sense. In a weird way.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can imagine that there are lots of people out there that think, well, okay, this sounds very interesting, but how can I use this? How can I tap into it? How can it serve me? Why would I want to dive into this? What would you say to them?
Mhm. Well, I can only speak from my own experience. When I was growing up, I felt like such a misfit. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I wasn't comfortable with the academics. I wasn't comfortable with the people that were in the drama or musical um, fields. I wasn't a nerd. I didn't fit in with the in crowd, so to
Yeah,
speak.
the
I was
cool
kind of
guys. No.
left to my own devices. And so I didn't know how I fit in or where I belonged. And around the age of 20 or so, 21, I was given an astrology reading that a neighbor friend had given me, that she had my birthday, but she didn't have my birth time, which is very crucial in
Yeah.
having exact information,
Yes.
and where I was born. And so I resonated with a lot of it. I was fascinated. I was intrigued because in some ways, like in the archetypal sense,
Hmm.
I I could feel that there was some resonance and truth to it, but I let it sit there for a very, very long time. It wasn't until maybe over 20 years later that I found a teacher that could really take me to the next level of my own understanding.
Hmm.
And it helped me understand that I'm not alone,
Yeah.
that I'm not broken, I don't need to be fixed. I have my own unique expression and way of being in the world, and to own that. And that's one of the things that astrology was able to help me with, to discover and understand my own unique expression in the world,
Hmm.
and it how to present that and not feel bad or ashamed or guilty that I am the way that I am,
Hmm.
but to really own and appreciate all that I have to offer,
Hmm.
and know that I'm not, perfect either, that there are things to work on. And
Yeah.
and astrology has helped me to understand how to go about that.
Hmm. I get it. So in a way, it is then also a tool that teaches you about yourself,
Exactly.
right?
And other people.
Yes,
Hmm.
of course, because yeah, you can apply it to not only yourself but to other people, and it's a means of well understanding yourself better, getting to know your user manual, and it is one of the things I also do with my clients, but not by means of astrology. I have the human design and the gene keys for that, for instance. But there are many tools that help us to find insights into ourselves, and that is, I think, what is most important, that you find a tool that speaks to you, that you resonate with, and that help you discover the beauty of who you are and why your quirks are your quirks, but that your quirks are also beautiful in their quirky way. And as sometimes it can also explain our life path, why we've had a lot of adversity, or what direction we should be going towards to have more fulfillment or more joy in our lives. So it's a way of finding answers, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. It can also help us reveal and uncover our hidden talents
Mm-hmm.
because the zodiac and the mandala, if you will, of the birth chart is separated into 12 different segments.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of those segments represents areas of our life that we're here to learn about and the lessons that we're here to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we innately focus in on those things without even realizing that that's the case.
Yeah.
And but when we can come to an astrologer that can help us discover our hidden talents and what we might be here to learn and grow into,
Mm-hmm.
it can give us a whole new way of living and looking at our own lives and how we fit into the scheme of things.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So if someone is listening to this or watching this and they feel intrigued and they think, well, this sounds like something I want to know more about, what would be their best starting point into the astrology journey?
Mm. I would say probably go for a consultation. I don't like to call them readings per se because it's not a one-way street. It's not about monologuing.
Mm-hmm.
I see an astrology consultation as a dialogue because the individual brings the chart alive. They are breathing life into the birth chart. And when we can understand what that is actually meaning, we can walk away with some kind of direction and
Mm-hmm.
even validation of what we've already been sensing. So I would say first, own what you're feeling
Mm-hmm.
and then seek out an astrologer that can help you really understand what that actually means.
Exactly. So I can imagine that when you're watching this and when you're viewing this and you feel cold and such, that you want to maybe reach out to Carol and talk, or maybe even book a consultation. So how can people do that, or where can people find you, Carol?
They can find me on my website at carolpilkington.com/counseling because all of my services are under the counseling tab
Hmm.
and astrology is one. And I also have a free offering for them that they can determine what areas of their life they actually would like to focus on understanding more about.
Hmm. That
That
sounds.
is the, yeah, soul filled living
I love it.
quiz.com.
So I will make sure that everything that Carol just talked about will be included in the show notes. They will probably be below this video, or they can be somewhere to the side, maybe depending on where you're catching this. But they're definitely in the show notes. So reach out to Carol if you want to do something with astrology, or talk about astrology, or have a consultation done. And if you just want to explore what she talked about in the free gift, then make sure that you click that and take her up on this generous offer. I can also imagine that you have insights out of this talk today. So if you're watching, if you're listening, I would love it if you could share your insights or your key takeaways below this video in the comments. And if you are new to this channel, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to it and maybe hit the notification bell so that you will never miss another video again in the future. And if you really loved it, then we would be very grateful if you wanted to share this episode with your tribe, because you never know who you know that needs to hear this message today, or that has this interest but doesn't know where to go with it. And you would be doing them a really great service by sharing it. So, thank you, Carol, for being a guest on the show and for talking about astrology and clearing a lot of stuff up for us. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it. It's always goes so fast.
Right? Yes, but I think time in general really goes fast nowadays.
Mhm.
It's only moments ago that it was Christmas in my right? So yeah, as it's yeah, time is going fast by itself already, but especially when you're having fun, time goes really fast.
Absolutely.
Yes. So
Thank you
again, thank
again.
you for being here. And you listener, viewer out there, thank you for your support for this channel, for tuning in, for liking, commenting, and sharing. And I look forward to presenting another wonderful guest in next week's interview. For today, I wish you an amazing rest of your day. Take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.